Miguel and I have been doing this for a long time. When you get into the wellness and optimization and biohacking space, there's so much to take. And a lot of it is like, you don't know, right? Is it working? Is it not? I don't want to guess. I want to make sure that what I'm taking, my cells are using and it's working.
You hit it. You hit it on the head. What do you need? Why do you need it? In what format? With what cofactors? In what dose? I literally live pharmaceutical-free, just addressing my genetics, which is really unbelievable. So I've made it my passion to educate people about the power of your own genetics. Nutrigenomics answers so many questions. So our whole thing is what's ailing your body, right? Ultimately, growing old shouldn't mean not feeling well. Your genes are what you inherited. I just think everybody that's trying to biohack themselves, how are you biohacking yourself if you don't know your strengths and weaknesses to begin with?
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of MHI's Virtual Roundtable. As always, I'm here joined by my brother Carlos, and today we have the privilege of hosting Kim Ressler, the visionary founder, CEO of SnipNutrigenomics, a company dedicated to advancing human health through biotech innovation by offering the first genetically tailored multivitamin designed to provide personalized nutrition based on an individual's unique genetic makeup. And beyond her groundbreaking work, Kim is a devoted mother of four. I found that the coolest thing. So Kim, thank you so much for being here today. We're excited to jump into the future of personalized nutrition with your company, SnipNutrigenomics.
Thank you so much, Miguel. I'm excited to be here. Hi, Carlos. How are you?
Hey, good. Happy to have you. Wonderful. So without further ado, because we got limited time, I know you're a busy woman. Why don't you start a little bit by sharing your journey and what inspired you to open SnipNutrigenomics?
Absolutely. I think it's so many of us. It was nearly 11 years living in Southern California, seeing the best doctors, trying to understand why I didn't feel well. And nobody could tell me that. And when I got wind of what nutrigenomics was, that we each need something based on what we inherited from our parents, I was blown away. Could that really make a difference? And when I say trial and error, 11 years of trying this, trying that, just the crushing fatigue I had, the terrible sleep, the terrible digestion. I was just like, this is not what aging can be like. It just can't. So, but nutrigenomics is complicated and it's complex. And that's the whole passion. When I did address my own genetics, it literally was like a little light bulb and a switch on everything that I had been ailing me. And I was like, okay, is this placebo effect? And it was like, no, it's not. It was the stay power. And it was feeling amazing in my own skin. I didn't even know at that point in time when I first addressed my genetics that I actually have an autoimmune and another condition. And I literally live pharmaceutical-free, just addressing my genetics, which is really unbelievable. So I've made it my passion and my purpose to educate people about the power of your own genetics. It's no longer what you were born with, because thank you, Mom and Dad, that is what we were born with, but how you can offset, not just, to live feeling good longer and to keep all of those things going to the side, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, and if I may say, just for the viewers, first of all, you're a brilliant woman. We met you at A4M. Miguel and I had been delving into genetics for the last couple of years, looking at numerous companies, and I'll let Miguel go through all his questions. But I just want to say to the crowd that I won't disclose your age, but you definitely don't look your age. Yeah. And in person, I was like, wow, her skin is amazing. She looks so young and she's so vibrant. Like, we really like, we believe that if you're in the health, wellness, and longevity space, like,
you have to wear the resume, right? And you're one of those players in the space that does. So congratulations. And we were really happy to, you were kind of like the best thing that happened in A4M for us.
And it's funny because we were already tired, fatigued, beat up. It was the end of it. And we're like, oh, let's just stop this. Boom. And boom, we get this explosion in our face. That's what we love about going to the conference, walking around a booth. And finally, a company that not only tells you the damn problem, but it has a solution.
Yeah. Because most stuff right?
With genes is like, okay, great, thanks. What do I do with this? Now I feel depressed because I have no idea how to solve this, right? Or I have to take 150 supplements. I mean, it hasn't been practical till today until we have SnipNutrigenomics. And I know it's only just getting better. So without further ado, I want to go to the next question, which is, how do you guys personalize the supplement based on individual's DNA? And you call it code complex, correct?
Yes.
The name of the multivitamin is code complex. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we personalize it? It's based on years of scientific evidence, based on highly actionable genes of what nutrients can offset genetic variants. So there's peer-reviewed science on each gene of saying, hey, these nutrients, it's plant-based nutrition. It's not just vitamins. It's plant-based nutrition, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients that can optimize the genetic expression. So we look at that. We look at each of these different these genes that are highly actionable, which I think we should talk about, that are highly actionable in impacting us in adult onset disease. I'm not going after disease, but I'm going after genes that impact body systems in adult onset disease.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I think if I can make a comment, Miguel, so for the viewer, I think that we always credit Gary Brecka for really putting this out and into the masses, the importance of addressing nutrient deficiencies. And when we're talking about nutrient deficiencies, specifically methylation, which is how our bodies take these raw nutrients and actually convert them into energy. And as you know, a lot of us have a problem with methylation, not to mention the fact that we have, our soils are depleted and we all suffer from nutrient deficiencies based on the fact that we live on planet Earth, right? And unless we live in a different solar system, we're still going to continue to have this problem. So this is where SnipNutrigenomics, I think, is extremely valuable because, Miguel and I have been doing this for a long time. When you get into the wellness and optimization and biohacking space, there's so much to take, right? And a lot of it is like, you don't know, right? Is it working? Is it not? And so the value that I think that you bring is precision, where you don't need to guess and where you're targeting these very specific systems and you're basically giving your cells what they actually need in order to perform their functions to the highest efficiency, which is, kind of like the promise that we all been hoping for in this space to I don't want to guess. I want to make sure that what I'm taking, my cells are using and it's working.
You hit it. You hit it on the head. What do you need? Why do you need it? In what format? With what cofactors? In what dose?
Yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Right. Yeah. So we're looking at you're looking at 103 genes, correct?
Yeah. So we test 103 actionable SNPs. I can't formulate on all of them. I can't formulate on your gluten gene or your propensity to be lactose intolerant. But I can tell you about them and I can guide you further. We do formulate on 22 key actionable genes that impact over 10 body systems. And
which we're going to get into.
Right? Yeah, which we'll get into. But you will see too that there's redundancy in the methylation pathway of how you would formulate on some of these others. So we do report on them so that if you're still struggling or you're diving deeper, you can. But truly, the simplicity of the code complex is that it's hitting all of these key areas that we're all looking for in longevity, and it's personal to you.
Okay, but so 103 genes, but you're making code complex based on 22 of these genes. So
Correct.
the rest is kind of because it gives you sort of an idea of what to do with it. Like, what's the purpose of looking at the rest then?
The purpose of looking at the rest is ultimately, ultimately, if you need to dive deeper, if you're truly struggling in certain areas and you needed to dive deeper to understand further something, then you could dive deeper. So
Okay.
it's that individual, I'll give you a scenario without getting too sciencey.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Let's stay basic. I love the science, but let's keep it basic.
Okay. So your vitamin D receptor, okay?
Yes.
Some of us can take vitamin D from the sun and convert it really easily from the sun, right? But we've got a really great blog written on this of how each of the vitamin D receptors take, and it's like a little lock and a key. It's like this key keeps moving based on this one does this one does this, etc. But then how do you then take and convert it? If you're still struggling with vitamin D absorption, and like when you do your vitamin D serum levels, there may be a couple of other things that you may need to look at. Now, that's going to get more sciencey that you may need to work with a provider on. For the most part, we know what we are doing. I'll give you an example. My vitamin D levels were in the teens, like 13, 14. I could not get them raised to what they needed to be.
Mhm.
All right. I saw my genetics. It made so much sense why. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. It's something that you have to take over and over. I need 8,000 IUs every single day to keep my vitamin D at the level of about right at between 68 and 70. I've done the blood work over and over and over. And that's one thing that's amazing to see now that I take that dose. I don't convert well from the sun.
Mhm.
I take that dose and I can keep those levels. So the
Right.
purpose of the additional 103, maybe there's some other issue. A lot of the autism docs that we work with, there's a pathway that sits below the methylation pathway, and maybe they need to look at it. So
Okay.
that's the reason for additional, plus
Okay.
just giving you additional lifestyle hacks, or saying, hey, you're eating gluten and your genetics tell me that it may be that you may not process it really well, or lactose. And it's very true. Every time I see markers on that lactose gene,
Right.
Yeah.
so
we
again-
actually discovered through this process that we don't process vitamin D. Like
Yeah,
even
wait, hold on. You're jumping the gun. I was going to get in there right now. I was actually going to tell you we have the VDR FUC1 and VDR BSM1. So although, because you said you were low, although I'm in the 70 or 80 range on my blood work, the intracellular effect is not being taken place because I have a break in that gene. So although the blood looks great, the intracellular genetic expression of what vitamin D is supposed to do is not being expressed, which is one of the things that your supplement helps to do. So that is something I was not aware of.
yeah.
So, okay, so, but just to make sure I got this correct, the rest of the gene helps other doctors and their functional genes that have a lot to do with the patient's functionality, that give the doctor or their provider a little more in-depth analysis, sort of the 10,000-foot view to understand their patient, right?
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
beautiful. So
there's no way I could formulate on all 103,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's also some redundancy in some of these genes, because we have the whole methylation pathway in there. We know the key genes to formulate on, but there are other genes that if you start to look exactly the nutrients, it's what's in the product based on the MTHFR, the MTRR, the FUT2, etc.
Okay. All right. So what is your product designed? I understand that it supports 10 key health systems. Can you walk us through these systems and what they're essential for?
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
I love
please.
visuals. Thank you.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So our whole thing is what's ailing your body, right? Ultimately, growing old shouldn't mean not feeling well. And there is definite scientific validation that nutrigenomics supports all of these areas, whether it be healthy body mass index, cardiovascular function. Really interesting, you guys. We just did a presentation on on heart health because February was Heart Health Month. And did you know for cardiac artery disease, it's 50% genetic, 50% lifestyle, whether or not you're going to develop that. And so we can really support and hone in on cardiovascular health. They say that if you understood this, that if you address some of these things, 20 years longer, healthier living by addressing this stuff. I mean, it's impressive. And I've got the research and the science behind all that I can always share later. But cognitive and brain, we want to keep our minds sharp. We don't want that brain fog, right? Detox. Does the body have the ability to detox? As you said, we live on planet Earth, particulate matter in the air. Southern California had terrible fires not too long ago. How is my body? I breathe that in. How is my body able to take and get rid of it, right? Can it do it in a healthy way? Energy. We all need energy, right?
Yeah.
Healthier mitochondria, baby.
Yep,
Make
mitochondria
work better.
Yep. Gut and microbiome. We need to keep our gut healthy. It's the second brain, right? A healthy immune response. Are you overreactive when you get sick? Do you have the ability to bounce back quicker? Do you not? We can see this in genes, and we can help optimize these body systems with specific nutrients. Inflammatory response. Inflammation is good when needed, but chronic inflammation leads to disease. We know that. Methylation, just like you talked about, turning on and off everything, and even mood. You guys, our moods can be affected by different genes. And if you can offset that to keep more of a balanced mood, just to feel happier, that's what we want.
Yeah. This is, and by the way, for anybody watching, if you don't think this is very real, this stuff definitely has an impact on mood. I've seen it firsthand and other people that have gone through this process where they've gone from really shitty baseline sort of mood patterns. And now when you fix this pathway, it elevates them where they're, I don't want to sound kooky, but it kind of elevates them to they vibrate at a different frequency. Does that make sense?
Well, it's your genes. It is you. That's what makes I just got chills there when you said that, because ultimately your genes are what you inherited. It's you. I mean, I don't know how to say it any more clear than it is only you and your genetic makeup. And so we take all of these key actionable genes where science has proven plant-based nutrition, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, in the right dose, in the right format, can help offset all of these variants to have them function optimally.
Right.
So let's just make sure, because this could be confusing for people, including myself, that I understand science pretty good. When you have a genetic brick, or maybe you have a better way, let's take a minute to unveil this in a way that people can wrap their hands around it. So when you have a genetic break, especially if you have a double copy, meaning mom and dad had it, so you're even more prone to having a dysfunctional gene. If that gene cannot code for information, then those proteins can be activated, the metabolites, the enzymes, and so on and so forth, the chain that it follows, cannot be activated. So when you don't have the ability to instruct for that gene, you sort of have to create a bridge over it. And this is where you make and formulate a supplement that can code for that gene that's not working. Does that sound right? Am I understanding right?
Yep. Think about it like a road, and you've got little potholes in the road, and you're driving your Ferrari down the road, right? And it's smooth. That's no variant. You've got a little pothole that may do some damage or not. That might be that one variant. So what we do is we drop in the nutrition that ultimately makes the gene whole. It gives it the ability to function optimally.
When you mean one variant, you're meaning if you have a single or double copy for your
and then if you had a double copy, it'd be a bigger pothole.
Right. So double copy, just bigger pothole. And what you're doing is filling I love that analogy. We're just going to fill the pothole so your ride is nice and smooth. I love it.
So I think something that might really resonate, and for people, when we were born, Nutrigenomic looks at actionable genes. Not I can't change your eye color. We're not going to change, or I'm
Your
not.
phenotypes can be switched.
What'd you say?
That your phenotypes cannot be switched. Color, height, metabolism.
Right. Or if you've got a propensity to have a unibrow, I'm not going to change that either. But all of these there's genes that impact us in aging. So think about this. You were born. When you were born, you did not come out of your mother's womb unless you had a rare genetic disorder with chronic inflammation, gut issues, mood issues, etc. This is life. This is what we are exposed to, the daily stress, your connection to a higher source, you're putting good water in your body. Nutrigenomics just comes in and these key areas to offset and fill in those areas that when we do start having problems in life, right? Like inflammation, it's because we had that propensity because we've been breathing all of this. We've been highly stressed. We've been breathing all of this air in that has chemicals. And that's when these genes may not be optimal. So these nutrients come in to help these genes function optimally so we can get back to where we were like when we were younger.
Right. Wonderful. Now, to echo on what Carlos was saying before, which is, a lot of people think this is woo-woo. What scientific research and validation is behind what you're doing?
That's a good question. We have over 600 references based on each ingredient and why we use them for each of these different genetic variants that we're looking at. And we are very transparent to give you the gene, the RS number, the nutrients, and all of the science that it has been proven to help offset that.
Interesting. Okay. So 600 in total with everything you're using.
Yep. Posted right now, I think there's 500 from A4M. We did, you guys, science is always progressing. We're going to keep progressing. And so after A4M, there's another 100 studies that are being added into our entire library of the what and why we do what we do.